Let's dive into Sam's training so we can stay consistent at home. Whenever we're working with Sam, we want to make sure we reward the behaviors we want to continue to see and use the training equipment to discourage behaviors that we don't really want to see from Sam. So let's dive into his prong collar. So we're going to attach the leash to the D-ring. Now, whenever we're working with him, especially in the beginning, it's always a good idea to have a leash on him, even in the house. This just gives us that extra layer of communication, especially when we're working on tough things or things that he's had, difficult behaviors in the past. So how to put this on, we are going to take the links apart. So the one above it, kind of push down, and it's about technique. So we just kind of follow the pattern of the prong right here. Then we're going to squeeze it like that and put it together. So how and when to use this? Let's talk about heel, for example. Whenever we're walking with him, there should be no tension on the leash. He should walk next to us on a nice loose leash when we're practicing the heel command. If he gets distracted and starts to get out of the heel position, walking in front of us, walking to the left of us, walking to the right of us, whatever it is, we're going to remind him, tell him no, give a little pop of the leash and remind him to heel. Heel means walk right here, and he's practiced that enough. He understands what heel means. So if he gets a little bit out of here, not where he should be, no, heel. That's how we're going to follow through with this. And that is, of course, how we're going to follow through with a lot of the commands. If he shows unwanted behavior when we're asking him to do something, or even in general, if he shows unwanted behavior, we're going to follow through, tell him that's not appropriate, and then try and give him something more appropriate to do. A good example of that would be, let's say someone comes in that we weren't expecting and he goes to jump. We're going to tell him no, correct that behavior with a remote collar, and then tell him to go to place. That way he can get a reward for being calm in the situation versus jumping up. Over time, he'll realize jumping's not what they want. It doesn't get me what I want. Instead, I'm going to go to place, and then I have the opportunity to get a reward. So that's what we're trying to teach Sam. All right, let's go over his remote collar. So this is what he's going to wear. Nifty little clip, quick on off. It does have a bungee, so it's not going to get too tight. His hair right now isn't too long, so the short prongs are just fine, but we do have extender prongs in the box. So this little red dot right here, that is the magnetic key that turns the collar on. The matching key is on the remote collar itself. So we're going to touch these two together. Green light flashes, that means it's on, charged, ready to go. This will not shut off unless the battery runs out or we turn it off ourselves, which is the same way we turned it on. Now we're going to turn our remote on, the on-off button in the back. We're going to push and hold that until the screen lights up. You're going to see level 15. That's the level that he's at out of 100. We're going to use the black S button to communicate with him, and I'm going to show you the rest of the features of the remote collar at the end of the video. So let's put this on, and we'll talk about heel for a second. So if he's in the heel position, loose leash, left-hand side, that's what he knows. If he makes the choice to run ahead or do anything other than walk next to us, we're going to tell him no, black S button, heel, no, heel, no, heel, no, sit, no, come. Whatever behavior we need him to do, if he doesn't do it the first time, that's the pattern. It's going to be no, heel, no, come. Pushing the black S button to get his attention and let him know, hey, what you're currently doing is not okay. Do this instead. So like, for example, you're walking past another dog or something and he lets out a little woof. No, heel. But let's say you walk past another dog and he completely ignores that dog. Good. We're going to praise and reward that behavior with treats to let him know, hey, when you do that, good things happen. The more we reward a behavior, the more we're going to see that behavior. So the more we reward, the more we see it. Sam's done really great, so we're just going to try and keep that momentum going. All right, so let's dive into the rest of his commands. So for example, sit. This is a great tool to use when we're going on walks, when we stop at the sidewalk, have him sit. That just keeps his mind in structure mode. There's a time and place to run around and be crazy and have fun, but when we're working on a heel, that's not the time or place. When we stop walking, we have him sit. Just keep him in that structured mindset. Also, when we're going through doorways, instead of having him just rush through a door, we're going to have him sit. We're going to open it, and then we can either go through the door and tell him free, or we can heel through the doorway together, whatever's easier for him, or for us in that moment. If he gets up from the sit before we tell him free, no, maybe pop and release, push the button, sit. He has to remain sitting until you tell him free. All these little behaviors, if we are pretty strict with them in the beginning, they will transfer to the bigger behaviors that we've seen from Sam. It all starts with these little bitty behaviors. If we let them slide, then bigger behaviors will come up, and we want to try to avoid that. So if we're pretty, lay our boundaries out in the beginning, should be all good with Sam. So let's move on to down stay. So down means lay down and stay until he is told free. Now with this command and place, we don't free from a distance. We always go back to him after we're done with having him stay, tell him he did a good job, and then tell him free that he can get up. We also want to make sure that we reward this command at the lowest point. So I like to maybe put treats down in front of him if it's safe to eat off the floor. If not, I put my hand low. That way he gets the reward while remaining in the down instead of me giving it to him and he's trying to get up to get it. Just a little tidbit there. If he gets up before you say free, no, follow through with the remote collar and possibly the prong collar. The difference with this one, instead of popping up for everything else, you would pop down towards the floor. So no, follow through, down, and then he stays until we tell him free. And then if he's doing a good job, good, we praise, pet, and maybe give treats depending on the situation. If a dog walks by barking at Sam and he just lays there like a good boy, we're going to reward that with a treat because that was a great behavior from him, and we want to encourage that same behavior to him later on. Okay, moving on to place. So this is a command that we're going to use a lot in the house when people come over to prevent the jumping and getting overly excited. It kind of gives him a job to do, a place to be, while still being included in the festivities when people come over. So we're going to have him go to place. Place is like an elevated boundary, preferably a dog bed. That way, if all 4 feet are on, he knows it. So it's a boundary stay. So he can stand, sit, or lay down on the bed as long as all 4 paws are on it. If he steps off of the bed before you tell him free, no, follow through. In the beginning, when you're having guests over, have a leash on him so you have that extra line of communication in case he is so tempted by the distraction. He knows the person coming in. He's so excited. We can help him back to the place bed. Nope. And then try and do the scenario again. So have the person go outside and come back in. And then when he stays, we're going to reward him. So we tell him, hey, this is what you do to be successful. I know it's exciting because you love this person. Let's try again until he gets it right. But he's done really great. This is just to kind of prepare for when he goes home. So again, the more we reward, the more he'll do it. The more we follow through, the less he'll do that command. So let's talk about come when called. So when we practice come when called, if you're not in a fenced-in area, it's always a good idea to have a long leash on him. I definitely urge you to practice with a long line. We're going to tell him free. So we're not going to put him in a down or a sit or anything. We're going to tell him free and let him explore, because most times when we need our dogs to come to us, they're not sitting and waiting for our next command. They're off exploring, distracting, looking at squirrels and birds. So we're going to recreate that scenario. So we're going to tell him free, let him sniff around. We're going to call him to us. Sam, come. As he comes to us, good boy, have him sit and give him a treat. We're going to reward this behavior every time because it's really important to have our dogs want to come to us. The more we reward that behavior, we're building a strong reward history. What a reward history is it's a positive reminder and association with doing a behavior and getting a positive reward with it over and over and over again. So you can do that with all the commands, but especially come when called. Now let's say he decides, no, this blade of grass is too interesting. I'm going to keep sniffing it. No, come. No, come, and repeat until he comes to you. Now, of course, if he's really distracted with something, then we might need to turn the level up and in the moment, reel him in using the leash. But of course, level 15 is working great for him, so he should respond to that. Then we have leave it. Leave it means don't grab that, don't touch that. So it could be food, socks, laundry, drop something on the floor, tell him leave it. If he still shows interest in it, leave it. No, leave it. Follow through with the collar to let him know, hey, that is off limits. So you can even practice by having laundry on the floor and having him walk past it. If he shows interest in it, leave it. That way he knows that laundry is off limits now. All right. So those are his commands. He did great. So when you take him home and work with him, just have fun, stay consistent. Now we're going to show you his commands in action. Sit. Good. Sit. Good. Sit. Good boy. Good. Sit. Heel. No. Heel. Heel. Down. Down. Good boy. Good. Down. Good. Down. Oh. Good. Down. Good boy. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good boy. Good job, Sam. Good. Down. Free. Good boy. Let's go over the rest of the features of Sam's remote collar. So we know how to turn the collar on. Let's go ahead and practice turning it off. So we're going to touch the two red dots together. Red means off. Ooh. Green means on. So we're touching the two red magnets together. Same thing with the on-off button in the back. We're going to push and hold that until the screen is blank. Perfect. So if you turn this thing on in the morning, it can be on all day, turn it off at night, you can do the same thing the next day. I would charge it every other night. It will flash orange and then red when it's running low on battery. So it'll let you know, hey, it's time to charge. And it lasts, I think, a full 24 hours, but turning it off at night, you'll get 2 full days out of it. So you can wear this 10 to 12 hours a day, take it off at night to charge it. And if he's crated, I would take it off in the crate. But first thing when you get home, put this on before he even leaves the crate, goes outside, anything like that. That way you have the ability to communicate with him. He should wear this every day, even if we don't need it, even if we don't use it, because we want to have the ability to communicate with Sam at all times, and this is going to help us do that. So let's go over the other features of the remote collar. This is the emergency button, that's why it's red. It is going to add 15 to whatever level is on the screen. We've not needed this boost feature for Sam, but you have it for emergencies. So for example, let's say he runs towards the road for something and we're like, oh no, Sam, come. And he's just on it. He's focused on a squirrel or something. This is to try and match that adrenaline. So level 15 reaches to right about here. So anytime he's here or lower, he's going to respond to 15. But if he sees a squirrel, it's going to jump him up to here. That's what that boost feature is for, is to snap him back down and say, hey, pay attention. Anyway, it's there in case you need it, but we have not needed that feature for him. But he hasn't ran into the road after a squirrel either. So this is the T button. It is vibrate. So it's going to vibrate the collar. Now, what I suggest using this for is to make sure that we've turned the collar on before we put it on Sam, because there have been times where the collar hasn't been on. And it's like, why isn't our dog responding like he normally does? It's because we did not turn this on. So push this a few times. Now in the future, I'm talking maybe 6 months to a year from now, we can start using that as a warning button for him. But I wouldn't start with that because that's like counting to 3 and he's going to learn that the rules aren't as strict at home, and that's what we want to avoid. All right, so the back here, the M/C button stands for momentary or continuous. He does not need to be on the continuous setting. We did that in the beginning with a low level to introduce the collar, but he's past that point. The on-off button has a nice feature. If we tap it and tap it again, it turns into a flashlight. Tap it again, turns it off. So if you want to see him better at night, the on-off button is also a flashlight feature. All right, so let's talk about his level. So level 15 is what's working for him right now. This may change over time. It may need to go up, it may need to come down. It depends as he matures and learns the training, different distractions. It might need to change a little bit. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Right now, with the dial, it's locked in. How to unlock it, I'm going to push down and hold. Now you'll see the 1D is flashing. We can turn the level down. We can turn the level up. That's how we're going to adjust the level. But level 15 is working, so we're going to put it at 15, lock it down and hold it, and we should be good to go. Again, the reason it could change would be a more distracting environment maybe, but level 15 seems to get his attention, so I don't think he'll need a change, but just in case. We have the charging port on the back here. This is waterproof, but I would make sure that little tab is closed. Same thing over here, because you don't want dirt, debris getting in there. All right, let's go over his charger. So this charger will charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. Extra lanyard. So his hair is pretty short. I didn't think he needed the extender prongs, but if you're going to grow his hair out, we might want to consider that. This would be the little tool to change out to the longer prongs if you decide to grow his hair out. The instruction manual is underneath here. It goes over all the buttons in greater detail, but we did cover all the features. This does have a 2-year full warranty, so if something starts not acting right on the collar, just contact them and they can help you out with that. All right. So those are the rest of the features of his remote collar. Have fun, stay consistent. Let us know if you have any questions.